Right, today we're just going to look at the role of this player, alright, the number 4 we call it at the academy, or some people call it just a defensive midfielder. Very important when you play a 4-3-3, like we do here at the academy, that you maximise the potential of this player and he really understands his role. Okay, so we're just going to look at a few different pointers in a few different areas as to how we get the most out of our number 4. So the first thing we're going to look at is just positioning in possession. So when we have the ball, where do we want our number 4? Okay, so let's just look at a general rule to start with, ignoring the opposition. If our centre-half's on the ball, we'll always encourage our number 4 to play in what we call the diagonal pocket. So that means instead of playing in here, he actually plays off here on the diagonal to the ball. That forces him to have this side-on shape, and he can then receive the ball on his back foot and we can look to play forward. Okay, really important that he does that. Again, if it's transferred across, okay, we'll look into playing this area here. Not straight on where you can only see your goal, on the diagonal, side on, ready to play forward. It also allows you, in our opinion, to get higher up the pitch. I think if he's here, he has to come deeper. If he plays in the diagonal, he might be able to get a little bit higher and receive the ball in a more attacking position. Okay, so that's just a general rule there. The other thing that is really important with the number 4 is that you get his distances right. So if the fullback's on the ball and he comes too close, all he can really ever do is bounce the ball back. Okay, this isn't what we want. If we've got good possession, we'll encourage him to keep the biggest distance possible where you can still receive the pass. Okay, that's important. If he goes too far, he can't receive that pass. That's too risky. All right, so he's got to judge the distances. He's got to be the maximum distance possible and still be a no-risk option or a minimum risk option, so he can still get the ball and we can play forward. Thirdly, on positioning, he's got to recognise there's times when he has to become what we call a bounce board. So say the opposition have dropped one of their strikers into marking, all right, because he's causing problems. Centre-half's in possession, a lot of pressure from the side, tight in here, tight in there, nothing really on. Okay, in this situation, we'll say to our number 4 to come late and fast into this area and just become a bounce board. So it's a touch in and a 1 touch out. Okay, if he stays away, I think that forces our centre-half to go bang. And a team that wants to dominate possession, this isn't what we want. We don't want a straight ball up to our centre-forward because that's a 50-50 ball. Okay, we want to dominate possession, so we get our 4 to come in, bang, we bounce the ball out, and we're out this side. Okay, so that's the 3 things really we look at positioning in possession for our number 4. Okay, so one thing that's obviously very important is you've got your positioning, but what happens when you get on the ball? Okay, you've got to be good in possession. So there's 5 things we look at in terms of technique, right, and they all begin with R. So we'll look at his receiving skills. So can he receive the ball on different surfaces, in different areas? Can he receive the ball with pressure behind him? Right, very important for a number 4. The other thing we'll look at, linked into receiving, is his retention. So can he keep the ball? Can he keep the ball when he's in space? Can he keep the ball when he's marked from behind and he's receiving the ball? All right, so all these different situations, if he's running at someone 1v1, can he keep the ball? All right, very important for a number 4. The other thing we'll look at, of course, is his range. So that's what we call his range of passing. So for us, the stop pass for the number 4 is into our 8 and our 10. Because the opposition 2 midfielders, once the 4's on the ball, they probably won't mark there, because that opens up a beautiful channel for him to either run into or play forward. So they'll probably mark in here. So what we're looking is, obviously his movement's got to be good, but has he got that range of pass where he zips it with top spin into that back foot? If that's not on, has he got the range of pass into the centre forward? Has he got the range of pass to hit a diagonal to the wide player? All right, all these different passes, very, very important for a number 4. Okay. The other thing we'll look at, again, another R, is running with the ball. So if he is in space and they do drop off him, he's not always in a position to serve and distribute from this area. So he's going to have to run with the ball. He's going to have to carry the ball forward. So when he's running with the ball, is he good 1v1? Does he know when he's committed someone to release? Does he know when to commit someone to beat them again? All right, all these decision making is very important for the 4. And the last R we look at is his releasing skills. So when he's running with the ball, Does he have different and effective release skills? So does he have an inside of the foot pass? Does he have an outside of the foot pass? Does he have a pass with spin? Does he have a pass in behind to penetrate? So many things, all right, we call them the 5 R's, so many things to make up this person's role. Okay, it's important he gets the positioning right, but when he gets on the ball, he must be effective, so he needs those 5 R's. Right, we're just going to look now at different ways of playing out from the back. Alright, so in the game we want this to be our stock way that we try and play out against teams that press us. Alright, so if we take this as the football, Rayad, as our goalkeeper, we want you to place the ball central. Alright, not the conventional ways in the side, because all they'll then do is set up and force us to play one way. So if we go central, we can now dictate, we can play right, we can play left, we can play central. Okay, so you're on the ball there, Rayad. Centre halves, firstly, we want you to split quite wide. Okay, so split, start at the corners of the box, just at the side, puts you in a nice position. What we've got to try and do, especially against a 4-4-2, which we're up against here in Blues, we've got to try and isolate and overload in our half. Okay, so fullbacks, what we're going to ask you to do is push on really high, and that forces their wide players back. Right, what we've created now, as you can see, is a nice 4v2. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 against their 2 strikers. Okay, this now gives us an ideal position to play centre midfielders, you force your man back. Okay, if we can't play out, if they press us here, we do what a Barcelona do. We go bang and we go bang, and we split down the sides of the box. Okay, a lot of teams in Europe now are using this tactic. Use as much space as we possibly can. If they want to go there, fantastic, we'll play straight into our midfielder and we'll attack. Right? I think more likely they'll have to tuck round a little bit and now we can play. If we play wide to you and we get pressed, we bounce back to the keeper and we're comfortable and we're composed in playing out. A couple of little variations. If they want to go half and half in midfield, which would, if I was coaching them, I would say to do that. Don't let him get on the ball. All we'll do then, another Barcelona tactic, is we'll just pretend you're Busquets, Tom, and we'll drop you in there. Alright, we've now got a back 3. That allows us to go even more aggressive with our fullbacks. One of these midfielders can drop in for a bit of security, and either of the wide men can come in, because we've now got our width. Okay, we've still got our overload 4v2, and we can play out a lot easier. Let's presume we don't do that, and we're actually playing out now, so wide man's out here, where our fullbacks drop in, centre midfielder. Okay, they've dropped off. We've now played out to Danny Wilkinson, right centre half. Dan, what we've got here in Jonathan King is a very attacking fullback. So we want to get Jonathan as high as possible. Okay, so Jono, we're going to ask you as soon as the ball goes there to run on. Alright, that's then going to force you, Alex, to come inside, which is exactly what we want. You're our little one matter, very creative midfielder. We can then force you inside. Okay? This then allows you, Carl Clare, to get a much larger zone. Right, look at the space we've created here. Can you now tuck in at fullback and receive the ball? Okay, so all we do is a little triangular rotation. Fullback on, wide midfielder inside, centre midfielder to fullback. Now we can play out, and they're looking all confused in here. Another thing we will task our 7 and our 11 with is, can you always threaten the line, always be breaking these lines, okay? And we talk about the channels within the back 4, or the attacking lanes. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? So can you always be threatening the lanes? So can you threaten in there, down that lane? Right, you might not get the pass, you might not get in on the first pass, but it's always testing this player. And if you give him decisions to make for the whole 90 minutes, at some point he'll slip up, no matter how good he is. And we say that about all of the opposition back 4. Can we constantly test them? We've already spoke about him testing that lane there, okay? And those strong diagonal runs are very hard to track. It's very important, the intensity that they make the runs at, okay? So we use the saying, the most powerful run of your life. Okay, so how much do you really want to get in behind into this space? You can't do it at a jog. because it gives him the opportunity to track the run, or it gives them the opportunity to make decisions to maybe step up and play an offside trap. But if you go at full speed, it's very difficult for these players to assess the danger, and again, in that moment, they may make mistakes. Lastly on that, we've spoken about it, or we've touched on it before, is can you make runs against the direction of the play? So as the play develops this way, so as the play comes across maybe from the 7 to the 8 to the 10, this back 4 is shifting that way. Can you then make runs, if the timing's right, against that direction? So as they shift from side to side, they're shifting left to right as that ball's played. Can we be going from that direction in there and maybe get one? You might just get one lifted into the space there for you to run onto. Again, very difficult to track for a back 4 that's moving this way to then suddenly change direction and track a run there. And often he'll be so far tucked across, he isn't able to see this man very clearly anyway. So it's pretty much too late by the time he recognises the danger. And then we could possibly in our goal and we have a good opportunity. We're going to look now at a very important aspect, again, of the 7 and the 11's repertoire. Okay, and we call it here at the Nike Academy, getting behind in no touches. Okay, so basically, the movement of these players to get in behind the defence without touching the ball. Okay, so we've looked at 1v1 domination and how they manipulate the ball to get in behind, but are they good enough to get in behind there without even touching the ball? Okay, so the first thing we'll look at as part of that, and you can see we've just put a back 4 in here to demonstrate it, is a range of individual movements. Okay, so does he have double movements to get the ball? So can he suck this player into this space, recognise when he's done it, and he can't really get the ball in there, and then spin in behind? So that's a double movement. Conversely, he might do it the same, but the other way. So can he run the fullback off to check and come and pick the ball up in a pocket of space? Okay, so does he have double movements? He might have to use a triple movement, and you see that with a lot of wingers now in the modern game, is sometimes 2 movements aren't good enough because fullbacks are so good. Okay, so we might have to run him away first, check the feet, and if he's tracked that one as well, we might have to get him on the 3rd movement, where we then spin him behind and get a through pass or an aerial lofted pass in behind. Okay, so that's what we look at. Does he have a range of movements there as an individual? Another very effective one is judging, can he recognise triggers to get across the front? Okay, great movement, very difficult to track. So the triggers we work off is if this fullback gets caught staring at the ball. So say we've got a ball in here and he gets caught staring at the ball, okay, rather than flicking between the 11 and the ball, he's got caught looking at that. That's a great opportunity to get across there and maybe get a little slip pass through the gap and get yourself a goal scoring opportunity.